Pizzaverse Studios psychological documentary A Palermo Productions original written by Bambi Palermo narrated by Vincent D. Prio. How psychopaths test you. You don't notice the moment it starts. There's no intimidation, no aggression, no obvious warning sign. Just an interaction that feels slightly accelerated. They seem unusually comfortable with you. Conversation moves quickly. Familiarity appears early. Trust forms faster than expected. Nothing feels wrong. And that's usually the first mistake, because some people don't enter interactions trying to connect. They enter trying to assess. Before influence, before manipulation, before conflict, there's evaluation, silent evaluation. And the unsettling part is this. You're often being tested long before you realize participation has begun. Psychopathy isn't defined by violence. In everyday environments, it shows up as controlled curiosity about people, who yields, who explains, who adjusts themselves to maintain comfort. If this feels recognizable already, stay with me, because the earliest signals rarely look dangerous. They look socially normal. The first test almost never feels like a test. It feels like politeness. A small request arrives early. Help with something minor, a favor slightly ahead of relationship depth, an assumption of familiarity that hasn't quite been earned. Refusing would feel disproportionate, so you cooperate. Most interactions move on without thought, but information was gathered, not about generosity, about resistance. People who intend long-term control don't begin by pushing hard. They begin by finding where pressure isn't required. Think about this honestly. How often have you agreed to something small just to avoid awkwardness? That moment reveals more than confidence ever could, because predictability matters more than strength. Once predictability exists, future outcomes become easier to engineer. The next test often feels surprisingly personal. They disclose something vulnerable, a betrayal story, a difficult past, an experience positioning them as misunderstood. The timing feels intimate. Connection appears immediate. But attention quietly shifts. They're watching how fast emotional access opens on your side. Do you reassure quickly? Share something equally personal? Move toward protecting or understanding them? Empathy reveals psychological entry points faster than confrontation ever could. And here's where discomfort begins. People rarely trust confidence alone. They trust emotional similarity. Someone reacts the way you would, so your brain assumes a shared internal experience. That assumption creates safety even when safety hasn't been earned. Pause for a second. Which feels more trustworthy instinctively, someone emotionally expressive or someone emotionally controlled? Your answer predicts vulnerability more accurately than personality traits do. Because the next evaluation isn't emotional, it's ethical. A comment appears slightly off, a joke targeting someone absent, a casual dismissal of rules, a story where boundaries didn't matter. Nothing serious enough to challenge openly, just enough ambiguity to observe alignment. Do you object? Stay neutral? Laugh to keep harmony? Silence communicates permission more loudly than agreement. Values don't need discussion when reactions provide clarity. What makes this difficult to recognize is that nothing here feels intentional in isolation. Each interaction remains explainable. You tell yourself they were joking, distracted, socially awkward, misunderstood. And that interpretation feels reasonable because human beings are wired to preserve social stability. Your brain prefers a harmless explanation over a threatening one. But strategic personalities understand something most people don't consciously realize. Consistency matters less than trajectory. They're not watching single reactions, they're watching patterns forming over time. Notice what happens when someone gently crosses a boundary once. You adjust. When it happens again, adjustment becomes easier. By the third or fourth time, the behavior no longer feels unusual. It feels normal. This is psychological acclimatization. And once acclimatization occurs, escalation no longer triggers alarm. It triggers tolerance. Many people later describe harmful dynamics as beginning suddenly. But sudden change is rarely sudden. It's accumulated permission finally becoming visible. The testing phase succeeds precisely because each step feels too small to justify concern. And the longer nothing catastrophic happens, the more confidently safety is assumed. That confidence becomes the final data point. Because once someone learns that discomfort will be rationalized instead of addressed, future behavior requires far less caution. And once reactions are mapped, escalation becomes efficient. Then comes something nearly invisible, micro-disrespect. Being interrupted gently. Credit suddenly redirected. Attention withdrawn after earlier intensity. Each instance small enough to excuse. Individually harmless. But repetition answers a critical question. Will status adjustment meet resistance? Explosive personalities announce danger early. Strategic personalities rarely do. Calm behavioral testing predicts sustained harm far more reliably than aggression. Because aggression risks exposure. Evaluation does not. Now the dynamic deepens. Sympathy testing begins. Stories accumulate where others treated them unfairly. Conflict always originates elsewhere. Responsibility appears external. The emotional pull is subtle. You feel inclined to defend them, to understand, to compensate for perceived injustice. And here's the uncomfortable realization. Highly empathetic people often pass this test fastest. There's another uncomfortable layer here. People who see themselves as perceptive are often the easiest to evaluate. Because confidence in judgment reduces verification. You assume you would notice manipulation. You assume intuition would warn you. So early inconsistencies get interpreted as complexity instead of risk. Intelligence doesn't prevent misclassification. In many cases, it explains it. Analytical people are especially skilled at constructing explanations that preserve their original impression. You reinterpret behavior, provide context, search for hidden meaning. And without realizing it, you begin solving the interaction instead of observing it. From the outside, nothing dramatic changes. But internally, effort increases. You think about the person more, replay conversations, analyze tone, adjust responses. And that shift matters, because attention itself signals investment. At that point, testing is largely complete, not because control has begun, but because psychological engagement already exists. Not because empathy is weakness, but because empathy reduces verification. Many harmful relationships begin not through fear, but through compassion extended too early. Eventually, something shifts. You establish a boundary. Nothing dramatic. You decline availability, disagree calmly, say no without hostility. This moment matters more than everything before it because now prediction is challenged. Watch closely what happens next. Do they accept smoothly? Apply mild guilt? Create confusion? Or withdraw warmth temporarily? The reaction isn't emotional, it's informational. They're learning whether resistance creates cost. And many people unknowingly soften boundaries immediately, over-explaining, apologizing, restoring comfort, which answers the test completely. One final evaluation test reveals the structure fully: accountability. A mistake occurs. They forget something, arrive late, cause inconvenience. Then comes observation. Do you correct gently or minimize immediately to preserve peace? When accountability disappears early, hierarchy forms silently. And hierarchy determines future leverage. Here's the realization many people reach only afterward. Control rarely begins with control. It begins with information gathering disguised as normal interaction. Each moment answers invisible questions. Who avoids discomfort? Who prioritizes harmony over accuracy? Who explains instead of enforcing boundaries? Danger isn't revealed through intensity. It's revealed through accumulated permission. This explains why recognition so often happens only in retrospect. The brain searches for moments of obvious threat, raised voices, clear hostility, visible intent. But strategic harm rarely announces itself that way. Instead, it appears as increasing emotional imbalance. You begin accommodating more than expected, explaining more than necessary, monitoring reactions more carefully than before. And the interaction quietly reorganizes around maintaining stability. When one person adapts continuously while the other evaluates continuously, influence no longer needs force. It emerges naturally. The unsettling realization is that many dangerous dynamics persist not because warning signs were absent, but because they were socially acceptable. Nothing crossed the threshold required for confrontation until the cumulative effect became undeniable. And by then, disengagement feels costly. Recognition earlier changes everything, not through suspicion, but through timing. Because silent tests only work when they remain invisible. Looking back, recognition feels obvious. In real time, it rarely does. Be honest. Which of these moments have you dismissed before because nothing seemed serious enough? That question changes future outcomes more than any label ever could. The goal isn't suspicion. It's clarity. Once testing becomes visible, predictability disappears. And without predictability, manipulation becomes inefficient. People dependent on silent evaluation often disengage when influence stops working because uncertainty removes advantage. In this world, people don't always show you who they are. They study you first. Quietly. Patiently. Without ever raising their voice. And by the time most people realize what they were part of, the pattern is already complete. But now you see it. The small asks. The early familiarity. The subtle shifts. The tests that never looked like tests. And once you see it, you don't unsee it. Because awareness changes the game. It removes predictability. It forces intention. And the moment someone can't read you the way they expected to, their advantage disappears. This isn't about fear. It's about control, your control. Your timing. Your boundaries. In the pizzaverse, we don't move blind. We don't ignore patterns. And we don't get played. We recognize. We adapt. And we move accordingly. This is Pizzaverse Studios. This is Palermo Productions. And we don't miss. If you're interested in psychological breakdowns, behavioral patterns, and deeper analysis, subscribe and stay connected for more from Pizzaverse Studios and Palermo Productions. Thanks for watching.
Bambi's School of Street Smarts. Since yous don't listen anyway. Hey, you ever met somebody who couldn't find their way out of a paper bag with GPS and divine intervention? You know, the kind of kid who gets scammed by a guy selling bridges. Yeah, we built a school for him. Welcome to Bambi's School of Street Smarts, where you learn the only curriculum that matters how not to get played. Course List 1, Intro to Common Sense, Beat 101. Learn the basics, like how not to tell strangers online your life story, or how to spot a business opportunity that smells like a pyramid scheme. 2, Advanced BS Detection. Bambi herself teaches you how to sniff out a fake wise guy from 3 boroughs away. Real capos talk less, dress better, and don't live stream their crimes, capiche? 3, Situational Awareness. 202. Learn to read a room, whether it's a sit-down, a live stream, or your cousin's shady poker night. Instructor, Agent Lopez, retired from teaching feds how to keep their heads down. 4, Emotional Armor. 303, taught by Bambi herself. You'll master the art of not reacting when someone tests you. Because in this life, whoever loses their cool first, loses. 5, The Hustler's Ethics. 401. Yeah, we got ethics. Just our kind of ethics. Don't steal from family. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. And for the love of marinara, always pay the guy who prints your flyers. A guy ducking a flying cannoli. A girl checking her surroundings before making a deal. One poor bastard getting yelled at for trusting a dude named Crypto Carmine. Street smarts ain't something you're born with. It's something you earn. That's right. We don't hand out diplomas. We hand out survival instincts. Graduate from here, you ain't just smart, you're unscammable. Enroll now in Bambi's School of Street Smarts. We turn pigeons into pros. Classes fill up fast. Call 1-800-FORGET ABOUT IT or visit pizzaversestudios.com smarts. Limited seats, unlimited attitude. Bambi's School of Street Smarts, where common sense gets made.
Trying to shoot down angels, they're trying to pull their wings off so they can't fly. And oh, but she's so brave though, just like a tornado. She's taking us by storm. You can't stop the girl from going. You can't stop the world from knowing the truth will set you free. They're trying to take our voices, they're trying to make our choices, so we scream loud, loud, loud. And oh, I know you feel the lightning, and it's so exciting, so here we go. You can't stop the girl from going. You can't stop the world from knowing the truth will set you free. Truth will set you free. know you feel the lightning. It's so exciting. So here we come.